Now, President Trump's budget proposal is out. It's been out for some time. And in addition to cutting Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, is also filled with cuts to what Republicans would consider non-essential. Now, of course, little caveat, the budget will not pass the House. It is expected to completely fail in the House. But the reason that I'm talking about this is that I think this really illustrates what they care about when it comes to policy priorities. So if they ever get back into power, take back the House perhaps, well then, this is the kind of stuff that they'll be trying to do if they have full control of the government. Now, some of the cuts that they're making and what things that they deem non-essential would be the arts. Now, President Trump's proposal calls for eliminating all federal funding for the arts, museums, humanities, public television, radios, and libraries. So, no more federal funding for libraries. Now, this is, let's see, the Washington Post reported this. For the third time in as many years, the White House has proposed a federal budget that would shutter the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which supports PBS and NPR, and the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Like last year, the plan provides small appropriations for each agency to facilitate its orderly demise. Now, the White House, of course, frames this as, this is wasteful and unnecessary spending. Now, the budget's proposed cuts to the arts, libraries, and humanities will total about $897 million. So, look, that's $897 million. It's a significant chunk of money to someone like you and I. For the government, not so much. Now, let me give you a contrasting example here. How much did we give in tax cuts for rich and corporations? About $1.5 trillion. Now, $897 million is a bit of a drop in the bucket. Now, let's compare that to how much we give the military. $750 billion. In fact, Trump wants to increase it to $750 billion in this budget. It's traditionally been around $700 billion. And before Trump took over, it was around $600 billion. So that's billion with a B, not million. So we give the Pentagon vastly more amounts of money. So we have all the money in the world to bomb brown people and give money to defense contractors. But to help people pick up a book, we have literally no money left. None. Now, of course, here's the thing. Look, the Republican Party is not interested in culture, not interested in having public learning programs. They're just not. They're just not interested in that. No, what they would actually want is to have these services privatized for profit. That's what that is. Now, interesting fact here. Trump's budget just came just days after a study by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and the National Endowment for the Arts found that the arts contributed 4.2% of America's annual gross domestic product. That is more than agriculture, warehousing, or transportation. So, NEA Chair Jane Chu said, the robust data show through hard evidence how and where arts and culture contribute value to the economies of communities throughout this nation. The data confirm that the arts play a meaningful role in our lives. Now, is this going to sway Republicans in office? No. Because that's not their primary concern. Art, culture, history? No, the only things they care about is to serve their donors. Things that profit their donors, right? So things like corporate subsidies, cutting taxes, deregulation, that's things that they would be more than happy to do. But that what they think of as so-called waste is things that actually have a substantial cultural benefit to the country. And of course, let's look at what they really want to do. They decry waste, but want to shower billions of dollars on defense contractors, rich people, and corporations. These are the entities that already have all the money already. So $897 million for the entirety of our nation's cultural program, that's actually super sad. Now, as I said before, this budget is DOA. It's not going to pass the House. But it shows their priorities. This is what the Republican Party stands for. They also, by the way, in the same budget, wanted to cut education. Funding for education, funding for science, the National Institute of Science, the National Institute of Health. So anything that benefits regular people, regular human beings, or deals with facts, or studies climate change, for example, they would love to destroy in order to give that money to their donors. And the final irony, of course, is that you look at wealthy people and they end up having a lot of art, a lot of culture. They're the ones who generally take advantage of having their extreme wealth and use that to, go and see all the different art and culture programs, etc. But at the same time, they don't want to fund it. And when it comes to poor people having the same access to that, well, they don't want them to have that same access. This is who the Republican Party, unfortunately, is. They hate the arts, they hate culture, if it's accessed by regular people and paid for by public funds. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.